We are back. Welcome along to Transfer Talk. So much to bring you, including Antonio Conte has his say on Romelu Lukaku. Find out very, very shortly what he has had to say. Remember, you can tweet the show at Sky Sports News. Use that hashtag Transfer Talk. Plenty coming up for you. We'll bring you the latest from Arsenal as Laurent Koscielny's future at the club looks to be coming to a conclusion. And he's become the most expensive defender in Italian history. We'll bring you Matthias de Ligt this hour. Don't forget, this is your show, and here's how you can get involved. Right, we will start with Romelu Lukaku. And the Inter Milan head coach, Antonio Conte, has just been speaking about the striker. We understand Inter's latest proposal for Lukaku would guarantee United £63 million, including add-ons, but structured over 2 or 3 years. It is believed that is still short of United's expectations, with the club wanting more than the £79 million they paid Everton back in 2017. Well, let's hear from Antonio Conte on Transfer Talk.
Lukaku is a United player, and this is the reality. You know very well that I like this player, but also in the past, when I was Chelsea's coach, and I tried to bring him in Chelsea. In this moment, we are talking about a player of another club, and for this reason, I think that it's right to don't talk about Lukaku, because I have great respect for United, and as I said before, and for sure, I consider this player. I like this player, and I consider him an important player for us. To have a good improvement, but at the same time there is a market, a transfer market. We know very well which is our situation.
Yeah, we'll get your take on what Conte had to say there. It's worth just reiterating and just reminding you of the news we brought you yesterday in terms of what Inter Milan are hoping to offer Lukaku. And we understand it will be £41 million over 5 years, including bonuses, of course, if they can convince United to sell him. Inter's latest proposal would guarantee, as we said, United £63 million, including add-ons, structured over 2 or 3 years, but that doesn't meet United's valuation, we understand. He also won't play when the two teams meet in a pre-season game in Singapore tomorrow. But let's get to what Conte said. He says Lukaku is an important player for us, but we respect Manchester United, and there's a transfer market, so we will see. But Dave, it seems Conte wants his man.
It does, and he wants his man because he doesn't really have any other options up front at the moment. He has sent home Mauro Icardi from their pre-season training camp, and that just leaves them with Lautaro Martinez as their only senior striker left in that squad. So if you remember back to his time at Chelsea when the infamous text message was sent to Diego Costa, "You are not part of my plans," he has done a similar thing and sent home Mauro Icardi. So he has put all his eggs in the Romelu Lukaku basket. And now if it doesn't work out, he will have to reintegrate Mauro Icardi, you would think, because he's one of Europe's best strikers, and he'll have to reintegrate him back into that Inter Milan squad. So it's quite clear, and I mean, what we heard there was absolutely clear as day that he needs Romelu Lukaku and he wants Romelu Lukaku.
And it was funny you say that because, I mean, Conte said Lukaku is an important player for us. It's almost as if he's already got his man.
I think it's quite big news in Italy that Conte isn't happy. He's on the front of Gazzetta dello Sport with the caption Kung Fu Conte, with him photoshopped. Now, it's funny because United have made it blatantly clear they want upwards of £79 million that they bought him for. Now, Carve made a really good point on the transfer show last night, which was Inter want Manchester United to meet them in the middle. But they didn't do that when United wanted Ivan Perisic 2 years ago. So United wanted to sign him. Inter wanted 49 million. United valued him at 45. They weren't willing to meet in the middle there. So, and now they're annoyed that United won't meet in the middle here.
Inter are also in a difficult position because when Antonio Conte came to the club, they promised him that they would back him. The problem is, well, clearly, they haven't got the funds yet. They need to sell Icardi, they might sell Perisic, there are a couple of others they're looking at. But the fact of the matter is, we all know Conte's style that he plays when we saw at Chelsea. He likes a target man up front. That isn't Lautaro Martinez, who's had a good season at Inter Milan and impressed at the Copa America as well. But he isn't that player. If they want to back him, they're going to have to find up probably another £20 million, and that is not easy, especially with the FFP regulations as well.
Yeah, we know that Inter have just come out of financial fair play, and it's almost like they've come out of detention at school. UEFA are watching them and saying, don't do that again, don't overspend. So UEFA are watching their every move, and if they overspend again, they're going to fall foul of those regulations again, which is why they're trying to creatively do this deal over 2 or 3 years to try and give them a little bit of wiggle room in terms of the fee and the money going out of the club.
If you're United, why would you? Why would you accept a cut price deal? OK, fine, at the moment that maybe perhaps the player isn't particularly happy, but he's still a very, very good player. And at the moment, he's number 2 in the pecking order for the strikers. And if anything happens to Marcus Rashford, he's going to be the guy. Never mind all the talk about Mason Greenwood coming through. He's still really young. It's not fair. From Manchester United's point of view, they've got a value and they're going to stick to it.
Yeah, well, let's bring you the Manchester United point of view, and we'll remind you what manager Ole Gunnar Solskjaer had to say about Lukaku a little earlier.
Is Romelu Lukaku fit for tomorrow night? And if he is, would you consider playing him given the speculation surrounding Inter Milan?
No, he's not fit, so he won't be available, no. So that answers the second one as well.
Has there been a change in the status of that, though, in terms of Inter Milan being in town and Romelu Lukaku and Manchester United being in town? Do you anticipate him still being a Manchester United player when we get to perhaps Shanghai?
I don't have any updates from last time I spoke to you, so yeah, I do.
Yeah, I actually can't wait to see what we're going to be talking about regarding the situation with Lukaku on Monday. It's going to be really interesting to see how this one develops, and we will, of course, keep you right up to speed. Let's move on to Arsenal now. And Unai Emery has admitted that Laurent Koscielny could leave and that he sees Rob Holding as one of his potential captains. Emma, bring us up to speed with this. What has Emery had to say?
Yeah, well, this is what Unai Emery has said this morning. He said, I want one English player in these 5 captains. Last year, Granit Xhaka, Mesut Ozil and Nacho Monreal were working as captains, but after Aaron Ramsey and Petr Cech left, and possibly Laurent Koscielny, I will want more. An English player who grew up in our academy, can understand the English spirit and the Arsenal values. These are the qualities and more that we want. We are really happy with Holding's progress. We need his performance as a centre-back. Before he had his injury, he was playing really well with big performances.
Yeah, and JD, just explain a little bit more about this model that Arsenal have in terms of these 5 captains that Emery's talking about here.
It's just the modern philosophy you're seeing within a lot of European clubs now, especially the super clubs. They don't really like the singling out a single captain, because then what happens if the manager and the captain then falls out? It then becomes a problem within the changing room. So they like to make it more of a collective decision. So they, as you say, it's very open that he's someone and nominated and named those captains that everybody was pretty much aware of, because last season you would have seen at least one of those players be captain at least one occasion. So it's good. But what it also indicates is how Arsenal views Rob Holding, the longevity in terms of his career at Arsenal, and obviously him coming through the system and him being English does help, but at the same time, being nominated into that role, regardless, is still a huge honour for him.
He's 23, and he played 9 Premier League starts last season, and yet at the same time, Unai Emery's come out and said, this kid, we love his leadership qualities, we love his background. That's a huge feather in the cap of Rob Holding. He must be sitting there going, well, that's great. Like, I'll get back even quicker now. This is fantastic.
He is really loved around the club. Just the development they've seen from the coaching perspective, but in the changing room as well. He's one of the what we call the boys' favourites. Like they do enjoy spending time with Rob, and that sort of breaking down that barrier, especially with the language barrier that will be naturally there sometimes, is always good.
You talk about that development, and I feel like this next season is a real turning point for Arsenal to focus on young players, and not just out of necessity, but out of choice. Does anyone remember Project Youth at Arsenal, when that famous picture of Wenger standing over Theo Walcott, Jack Wilshere, Kieran Gibbs, Aaron Ramsey? I think the only remaining player is Carl Jenkinson. 7 years on, is the only remaining player from that Project Youth. But now, Freddie Lumbo's come in, he coached the under-23s, and there is a reason he has been now promoted to assistant head coach. You look at the young players they've got who've come through the academy, Eddie Nketiah, Joe Willock, who I know you're a big fan of, JD, Reece Nelson, they've all come through the academy. They still got Emile Smith-Rowe to return from injury as well. You know, Joe Willock came on in place of Mesut Ozil in that Europa League final.
Yeah.
So there's a real kind of youth coming through now at Arsenal, which is great to see.
I think they don't want to make the mistakes they've made previously. They've seen same players come through those academies. Cesc Fabregas obviously didn't work out, even though he's seen in Arsenal eyes probably as a legend. It probably didn't work out how they probably would have wanted it to. Serge Gnabry is probably the biggest case as well. He's then gone off to even bigger European clubs. So Arsenal would look at what the mistakes they probably made in the past, especially with their transfer policies and bringing the youngsters through, and thinking to themselves, look, we need to promote from within now. There's a lot of talent there, and they're proving it on the international stage at under 21s and under 20s, so give them an opportunity, really. Ainsley Maitland-Niles is another one.
And
big fan of his.
As well, who adds to that.
Yeah, absolutely. And let's just remind you of that news regarding Saliba that we brought you earlier on. Arsenal have reached an agreement in principle with St Etienne for defender William Saliba. It looks like Arsenal won't be stopping there, though. They continue to work on deals, we understand, for Real Madrid midfielder Dani Ceballos, which would be a season-long loan, as well as Celtic left-back Kieran Tierney. The club said to be increasingly confident that they can get both of these moves over the line. So it is a case of watch this space with those ones, but the club seemingly very confident. So that's the state of play there. Dave, what else have you got for us?
Yes, we'll hear from Pep Guardiola in a moment, but first to the rest of the day's headlines. We understand Barcelona have made a £90 million offer plus 2 players to Paris Saint-Germain for Neymar. Barcelona have given the French champions a list of 6 players that could be included in the deal, including Philippe Coutinho. Sky sources are telling us that Wolves are in talks with AC Milan for striker Patrick Cutrone. The 21-year-old is valued at around £23 million by Milan, who are looking to recoup funds due to FFP requirements in order to fund future spending. We understand that Bournemouth's Lys Mousset has passed a medical ahead of his £9 million move to Sheffield United. Wilfried Zaha has told Crystal Palace that he wants to leave the club. The forward is wanted by Arsenal, who had a £40 million bid rejected earlier this summer. Arsenal are expected to come back in for Zaha in the next few days. West Bromwich Albion are expected to confirm the £8 million signing of striker Kenneth Zohore from Cardiff later today. He has passed his medical at the Hawthorns and now agreed personal terms. Slaven Bilic sees Zohore as a direct replacement for Salomon Rondon, who has today joined the Chinese side Dalian Yifang for an undisclosed fee. And Bristol City and Queen's Park Rangers are among several clubs interested in signing the West Ham striker Jordan Hugill. That's according to Sky sources. Wigan's bid to sign the forward has fallen through.
Right now, we know Harry Maguire is frustrated at Leicester's stance over his potential sale to either Manchester United or Manchester City. Maguire was in pre-season action for Leicester this week, having told the club and his teammates he wants to leave. Pep Guardiola wasn't giving much away when he was asked about the England defender this morning.
So usually never speaks about the players for the other clubs because they are players for another club. So what's going to happen is going to happen. If it doesn't happen, it's because not happen.
What is the situation with Leroy though? Because you did say the other night we need happy players. Is he happy?
Yeah, we want him, and hopefully he can stay. This season, another one. That's why we offered him to renew the contract more than 1 year ago. So we want him, and because he has a special quality, we're playing wingers and specific winger players, and it's interesting players. But in the same time, it's his decision. It's the same what happened with, with Jadon Sancho. So we want him, and we did everything. But at the end, doesn't want. What can you do? So nothing. So we know each other. We tried, and we will see what happens.
A bit of breaking transfer news to bring you. And Dave, you were just talking about this player, and we've got a big update.
Yeah, cheers, West Brom there. Just got me there. Right, just as I was talking, we got the notification through there. Yeah, Kenneth Zohore is a done deal. He has signed from Cardiff City. The club is saying it's an undisclosed fee. We believe that to be £8 million. Signed a 4-year contract. Slaven Bilic has said he's a player who's got more than a bit of everything. He's strong, has pace and has good skill. He knows the league and knows the country. He's already got good experience, but he's still got room to improve. He is not the finished article. Scored 1 Premier League goal for Cardiff last year, but scored 21 across 2 seasons with Cardiff in the Championship, so proven at Championship level. And finally, West Bromwich Albion fans, the transfer activity is getting going under Slaven Bilic, so they'll hope that continues.